Very good morning to you, and thank you so much for finding time to be with us today. This is Good Morning Africa. My name is Miriam Mugutu, and we're coming to you all the way from Kenya's capital here in Nairobi. Good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're joining us from across the world. So I'll just take us through quickly on the headlines, and then I'll bring in my panelists, and we shall start our conversation based on some of the stories that have been carried out in the leading newspapers here in Kenya. And on the Star newspaper, the main headline is Kenyatta hand in setting up Raila's big day. Uhuru puts Jubilee machinery at disposal of handshake partner who is preparing to show his political might. The story is on page 4 and 5 of the Star newspaper. Uhuru's legacy expressway project right now is at 75% complete. So it appears that it will be within the given timeline that it was expected for this project to be completed. And then just up there, a newfound home principal sleeps in car to help deaf pupils at night in Baringo. So you'll find that story on page 33 of the Star newspaper. And then we move our attention now to the Daily Nation. And the main headline on the Daily Nation this morning, 2022, Uhuru follows the Moi script. Unlike his predecessor, Mwai Kibaki, President Uhuru Kenyatta is keen to influence the choice of whom will take over from him when his second term in office ends in August 2022, in what is seen as a bid to shape his legacy. The story is on page 4 of this Daily Nation. And just beside that, the Kitui tragedy disaster, those who lost in accident, and they have outlined a couple of Kenyans, the names of the people who were victims of that unfortunate tragedy that happened over the weekend. And then exams with humane face. Interior CS Fred Matiang'i, his education counterpart George Magoha, and South Mugirango Member of Parliament Silvanus Osoro yesterday during the handover of new classrooms at Egetonto Primary School in Kisii County. The minister said the 2021 national examinations slated for March and April next year will be tailor-made to factor in the challenges the candidates have faced due to the COVID-19 pandemic. And the story is on page 7 of the Daily Nation. Cost of power still high despite Uhuru promise. Charges went up in October and November. The story is on back page of the Daily Nation. And so that is what we have on the front page of the Daily Nation this morning. And we look at the Standard newspaper, and the main headline, they paid for state neglect with their lives on December 14th, 2019. Infrastructure PS Paul Maringa assessed the bridge, urged locals to calm down and promised an emergency intervention, saying its renovation was a priority, but national and county governments slept on the job. But the story is on page 8 of the Standard newspaper. Raila in city as DP Ruto stars central. ODM leader meets Jubilee Party leaders ahead of Friday meeting, while DP pitches a camp in Nyeri for the third day. The story is on page 6 and 7 of the Standard newspaper. And what went wrong for Tusker and Gore? They were bundled out of the CAF Federation Cup after dismal performances in their respective playoff matches. And then President out of touch with reality. Debt and corruption were the two significant areas the president glossed over in his State of the Nation address. The story is on page 14 and 15 of the Standard newspaper. So that is what we have on the leading newspapers this morning. And so I'd like to bring in my panelists. We are joined by Sharon Gitonga from Nairobi. Sharon, a very good morning to you.
Thank you very much, Miriam, and a very good morning to you and to all my colleague panelists, Samuel Tawish, Daniel Wesonga, Jivan Karanja, and to all our viewers who are watching us, whether it's their morning, afternoon, or evening. Good morning.
All right, very good morning to you. And we're also joined by Samuel Tawish, a journalist from Nairobi. Tawish, a very good morning to you.
Very good morning to you, Miriam Mugutu. Good morning to Sharon Gitonga, my colleague, panelist as well, Javan Karanja, Sean Wesonga, and all our viewers watching this program in Africa and across the world. My pleasure to join you once more on this program. Good morning, Miriam.
A very good morning to you. Nice to have you today. And we also do have Daniel Wesonga, our correspondent from Nairobi as well. Wesonga, very good morning to you.
Yes, a very, very good morning, Miriam Ogutu in Nairobi. Good morning to my co-panelist, Sharon Gitonga, and my brother, Tarisho Lesasina, and my good friend and brother, Javan Karanja, who is joining us from Nanyuki, and our viewers, of course, here in Kenya and across the globe. Good morning.
Good morning, and of course, last but not least, a person that we've missed on the panel for quite some time now, Javan Karanja. A very good morning to you. Thank you so much for finding time to be with us today. Very well. I think Javan is still setting up there. So once he's able to join us, so we will have him. And so, of course, the story continues on that unfortunate incident that happened in Mwingi over the weekend. And apparently this is something that had been brought to the attention of the government as in December 14th, almost a year later, a couple of years later, 2 years later, on December 2019, Infrastructure PS Paul Mariga assessed the bridge, all right? And while he was there, he just urged the locals, to calm down and promised an emergency intervention. And almost 2 years later, nothing has been done, and now lives have been claimed. So are we likely now to see, the people responsible for building this bridge and other bridges across the country, treat some of this infrastructural development with the urgency that it requires, as we see now? The lack of good infrastructure in this regard, like the bridge that is necessary in that area, could mean lives being lost. Sharon.
Thank you very much, Miriam, for that question. And, first of all, let me also join the country and, the entire nation in, passing my heartfelt condolences to all the families that were affected. And my biggest prayer this morning is that the Lord actually gives them the peace and comfort, that surpasses any human understanding. It's, what someone says that when someone is mourning, you cannot tell them, I understand what you're going through, because you do not even understand clearly what they are going through. And so it's quite unfortunate that even in this country that I think the biggest problem we have with our leaders that we have to shoot first and then we aim later. So now that, this kind of tragedy has come to the limelight and having, claimed, 34 or 35 lives as at, yesterday, it's quite unfortunate that this time is when now, all the leaders are, going in there and, trying to say that this is actually going to be, some swift action is going to be taken up. I was actually listening to the governor of Kitui, Charity Ngilu, this morning at Citizen. And, one thing she was quick to say is that they actually don't deal with, these major roads. And she also highlighted that this is actually a seasonal river and it's actually a one-off. But then you wonder if you actually look keenly in statistics that this river has actually it's actually swept away quite some cars and people. I think this time it actually had to come to limelight, because I was seeing in 2018 we had a similar accident. Like each and every year we have had these accidents. So it's quite unfortunate that this was laxity, whether it's deliberate or not deliberate. It's not time to start now poking fingers. I think now that we have had the tragedy and it has lost. I was looking at a family that has lost 11 family members. That is something you cannot even it's a sad it's a sad story. So I think moving forward, let us get let us take a swift action and see people actually this road actually getting repaired, and let them also seek to get competent contractors, because they also say that the contractor was given to someone and then apparently he did a shoddy job. Right now, let's get a competent contractor, to bring this matter to a closure. And also, also to put this matter to closure, I hope, we get to a point where we are able to retrieve all these bodies so that partly we are able to, serve justice to these bereaved families. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. And I was watching the same interview early in the morning with, of course, Kitui Governor Charity Ngilu, and I heard what she said there. So it's interesting. But this is something that was brought to the attention of the people responsible in building this bridge a couple of years ago. And so are we likely, hopefully, to learn any lessons from this unfortunate incident at Awish?
Very well. Thank you so much, Miriam, and of course, colleague panelist. To begin with, Miriam, allow me as well to register my utmost condolence really to the families and relatives of those who lost their kins following this tragic incident in that particular part of the country. Indeed, Miriam, it has been argued that this is an incident that would have otherwise been avoided if right things were done. But I suppose maybe this is not really the moment to apportion blame. It is a moment for us to do a reflection and to get to understand what better ways can we then be able to avoid a recurrence of the same going into the future. Because again, lives have been lost. Just like Sharon did mention, you have a family that has lost about 11 people through this particular incident. People argue that it could have been avoided. Maybe this bridge would have been put up some time back. And there's no kind of course, excuses that can justify such kind of course, ugly instances really happening. We understand that the ordinary people really are vulnerable. They pay taxes, and they will really need in return services. We need proper infrastructure, for instance, to ensure that maybe our people are safe even as they use these roads. And even look into the rescue operation, Miriam, how it was being undertaken really. Much as maybe the Kenya Defense Forces came into place, but most of the people really will argue that maybe there was not that much of quick response, and there was not so much of qualified personnel to be able to carry out rescue operation in time, so that maybe we would have been able to rescue more people alive and even be able to retrieve the bodies. As we speak today, it is even argued that maybe more bodies could still be really in this particular river as we speak. Nobody really knows. We do not have exact number of the people who were on board that particular bus. How many people really have been recovered as we speak? About 30-something bodies as we speak now. And it is said that the people who are on that particular bus were over 50. So in itself, really, Miriam tells you about our disaster preparedness and how much we are not prepared really to tackle such kind of occurrences whenever they take place. So it is a very big challenge on us. It's a very big challenge on part of leadership, the national and county government, because it is not about people now to argue on whose responsibility is it really to do this. Is it about the county government? Is it about the national government? The question we should be asking ourselves is, what is the right thing to do? If it's about putting up this bridge, the county government, through the governor of Kitui, Charity Ngilu, should be able to liaise with the national government and see what they can be able to do to put up this bridge, because we cannot continue reporting such kind of incidences day in, day out, and we feel like everything is really okay. This is very unfortunate, okay. Miriam.
Very well, thank you so much. And I think I'll just leave that conversation there. I know perhaps, Daniel, you want to say something, but it is our topic of discussion at 10 a.m. So please allow me to just leave that there. We'll pick it up then. But for right now, on page 3 of the Standard newspaper, Matiang'i blames a rights activist for school fires. The government is now blaming human rights activists for the unruly behavior currently witnessed in schools. Interior Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiang'i said human rights activists have made it difficult for the government to have sanity in the education sector. However, he added that the government is keen on ensuring there was law and order in the Mugirango constituency in Kisii County, advocated for the reintroduction of corporal punishment in schools to bring back sanity. Magoha said that during his time in school, they were caned thoroughly, which made him what he is today, and that nobody died from the strokes of canes they got from teachers in a bid to instill discipline in the students. And I think that is something that is quite arguable today. One would say we were caned, that's why we are as disciplined as we are. And also you'll meet a section of Kenyans who are grown-ups now who are saying we were caned. And because of that, I'm still dealing with certain levels of trauma that I experienced through that, hectic kind of, discipline measures. But now, as Matiang'i is saying, this problem, partly the people to blame is the human rights activists. Are we laying this blame to the right door? Daniel Wasonga.
Yes, thank you, Miriam Ogutu. And of course, the human rights activists have been very vocal on corporal punishment in schools. And today, you'll be told as a teacher, you touch on a student and you are actually on the verge of being interdicted. And that is actually what has led to the moral decadence amongst our students. You know, for a very, very well thriving society in terms of raising our children, we need a very, very clear balance between corporal punishment and also just guiding these students by listening to them and giving them advice. The moment we discard away with corporal punishment, then we are more likely to have students who are very daring and who do not listen to any kind of advice that they might be given by their teachers or maybe their parents. And this goes even to the olden days, where it is actually captured in the Bible that parents should actually enforce some corporal punishment to their children so that to show them the way of life. And even the Englishmen say that spare the rod and spoil the child. So I think all this has to trickle down to the laws and also the activism that we have amongst our society, which has made it very difficult to actually instill discipline into these kids. And you realize that with the technological advances, then it is actually difficult to actually correct their morality and be able to prevent them from sinking into the obscenities and the vanities of the technology and the current world that comes their way. So to me, I think the CS is very right. And it is high time we introduce corporal punishment in schools so that these young people know that for every mistake they do, they either have two-way traffic about it. You are either maybe cancelled if it is not a serious issue, and if it is a serious issue, you could actually endure corporal punishment. And I believe that is what brings discipline even in the military world over. So to me, I think I agree with the CS Matiang'i that lack of corporal punishment, and which is caused by the activism of various human rights activists, and our law actually is what has become the greatest impediment to the discipline of our children in schools. I submit.
Okay, thank you, Sharon. I don't know how you feel about that. Last I checked, these kids are still being beaten in school.
Thank you very much, Miriam. But on this case, I tend to disagree with what the CS has said. You know, Daniel said that, you know, you spoil the child and you spare the rod and, you know, spare the, I don't know exactly that saying that how it goes, yeah. But I think in the Bible, it also says that whoever does not discipline your child, actually you hate him. So I think now what we need to do, I don't agree with reintroducing the corporal punishment. I think we should, focus on what is being done right in private schools and is actually going wrong in public schools, because we have outrightly, said here before that, we've not had issues with private schools going on, these kind of strikes and, banning of schools and, the like. Yeah, so I think the biggest question would be, probably we need to borrow a leaf from what is happening in private schools. If it means we have the reintroduction of psychosocial programs such as guidance and counseling, because I believe they thrive so well when it comes to private schools, and when it comes, because we are at a time where mental health, assessment is at concern. I was actually going through some statistics that said 1 in every 10 person actually suffers, a mental health challenge. So when you look at even this period of COVID, so much so much really happened. So I believe having these kind of, candid conversations with the children to actually understand where the problem is will actually go a long way, other than, starting, reintroducing the corporal punishment. And then at the end of the day, even if you discipline this child in school and the parent has failed, this is actually, these are concerted efforts. We cannot start blaming, anyone because at the end of the day, we as parents, I believe we also have a part that we have failed. Why? Because this is a generation of, Kababa and Kamama. They have now grown up and they're in high school and they're in the, they're in the internet, rather this TikTok generation. So it is an issue of monkey see, monkey do. I was actually seeing, today in the morning that a police officer has killed 6 people, and you've seen even in the political arena how these people actually insult each other. So this is also an issue of monkey see, monkey do. So whatever that we are seeing, I tend to believe that it is actually a reflection of the kind of society that we have. I disagree with the point of bringing in corporal punishments, but let us introduce in psychosocial programs where we also give an ear. Remember, everyone has a freedom of speech. Let us also give an ear to these children and hear what they're actually going through. When you talk about, the kind of enabling environment that they're in, remember in public schools, you find sometimes they have, they have an excess number of people. So when it comes to also having an enabling environment, these are the kind of things that, we could actually listen to rather than, bringing in the corporal punishment. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. And I think earlier on, I was watching a certain conversation based on the same. And I think one of the panelists in one of the television stations in the country was saying that, teachers should left to do what they go to school to, what they're trained to do, and that is to teach and to impart knowledge on the kids. And parents should do what they're supposed to do, and that is discipline their kids.
I agree with you.
Yes, as much as we want, the corporal punishment to return to schools, well, these kids back in their homes, a lot of them, that is not how they're being disciplined. So it appears still the buck seems to be stopping with the kind of discipline that we give our children back at home, and also the society that we have created today, where we have people that these kids consider as role models just misbehaving, and we see that every day in the news and all that. So I think that also has to do with the kind of society we have today. But, blaming this on the human rights activist, Wesonga, is this an overstretch on Matiang's part? Wesonga? Okay, so we seem to have lost Wesonga there. I don't know if Javan Karanja is still there. Karanja, if you can hear me, good morning.
Sorry, I think Javan as well is not connected, okay. But maybe I can take it up. I suppose, Miriam, I really agree with a recommendation by the Ministry of Education alongside that of Interior, that probably it is time we reintroduced a corporal punishment in our schools. More so in public schools. I think Sharon has given us a very good example that the same cannot be said of private schools. And ever since there's introduction of this free primary and secondary education, I think we have seen a very bad pattern taking precedence in the sense that students in the public schools have not quite taken it so serious, or even parents, because they feel like they are not maybe taking too much. They're not having so much input in as far as maybe even financial aspect is concerned on these students, and that is why you see there's been a lot of negligence even coming from the parents. Because the question is, do you want to tell me that kids who go to private schools come from a different society altogether? Are they drawn from different parents altogether? It is from the same society. But I think because the parents who take their kids to private schools really are so tough and so hard and really want to see the best from their kids, and even when they come back home, there's a way they're being molded. They're not they cannot really become as unruly as you'll say of the kids in the public school. So I think there's that very bad pattern that is taking shape in the public schools today. And I really agree that much as it may not necessarily have anything to do with the say human rights activists, but corporal punishment should be reintroduced, because if you are to do an audit, we cannot continue really tolerating this kind of instances in our schools where dormitories, schools and infrastructures are being brought down by a few rogue students. And this all boils down now to the parents coming to really carry that burden because they'll have to cough again some money to be able to compensate for whatever kind of damage that has taken place. So I mean, parents are struggling out here. Everybody is really struggling in terms of the economy. And when kids are given an opportunity to go to school, they have to go and do that which they have been taken to do in terms of learning, in terms of getting this knowledge. And those who are engaging in this kind of behavior really should be dealt with, because I understand there are also those kids who are really disciplined. There are those who are doing things which are right. And normally when you look into these instances, it has have what I will call a blanket kind of effect or result in terms of people even paying for the damages, where every kid is supposed to pay for the damages that have occurred when a dormitory, for example, is burnt down, Miriam, and when not every student really has participated. So how long are we going to tolerate this? How long do you suppose parents are really going to put up with this kind of behavior? I suppose it's time we must have that kind of discussion and ask ourselves, if it is the corporal punishment, if it is caning of the kids that will bring back sanity in our schools, so be it, Miriam. Like my colleague panelists have said, they say spare the rod and spoil the child. I think that is the way to go. We should bring back this form of discipline in our kids so that we bring up upright members of our society, Miriam. I submit.
Okay, thank you so much. And of course, there's something that has been going on that we've not had time to perhaps shed a light on, and that is the 16 days of activism. We know this is a time where issues to do with gender-based violence gets highlighted during this time of the year, every year. So I think this is a conversation that is very important, as we've seen when it comes to violence. And now it's not just violence against women, even in bad marriages, but also men. It has become something of concern. And so we have to speak about it. And in the 16 days of activism, I've seen some articles here by the Standard newspaper, where there's a certain woman here who's giving her testimony of the life she lived in an abusive relationship. And she said, I escaped death by a whisker, says a woman in an abusive marriage. And just beside that, 3 counties to benefit from pilot, a 700 million shillings GBV grant, and read the signs and flee from violent partners, women told. But as I've said, it's not just women, who are, victims of gender-based violence, but we've seen increasingly men have become also a statistic, and, a lot of them will not come out and, say that they're being abused in their marriages because, of course, of the stigma that comes with that. You're a man, that is not something that you're supposed to be going through. But how much are we doing, and can we do enough to sensitize the society when it comes to gender-based violence? Sharon Gitonga, are we doing enough?
Thank you. Thank you very much, Miriam, of course, for that question. And I also, one of the people that really champion when it comes to, gender-based violence. And as you said outrightly that, it's not only women, because you understand even some men are victims when it comes to gender-based violence. Actually, one of the themes this year is to, end violence against women and girls now, meaning we have to take a stern action, right now. I love this kind of activism that is actually conducted annually to celebrate and, commemorate the elimination against, gender-based violence. And I think it's good when, we create such kind of awareness and, calling to action amongst different institutions, different individuals, whether it's global actors, in the government and different stakeholders. I was actually seeing a report that said over 40% of women and girls continue to face, this kind of, gender-based violence. And we as a country, it's quite sad that we continue to experience, this kind of violence. And number one, I think the key thing is to actually have these perpetrators actually being held accountable, because sometimes I understand that there are some institutions that have been set. I saw the other day the Ministry of Interior, launching a polycare institution that is meant to handle such cases. But in most cases, I believe that these kind of victims are not given an ear, because you understand sometimes they say that you have to prove, that you have actually gone through this. So this kind of I believe we've actually given ear to, to this kind of, happenings. It's going to bring in more people. It's going to bring people more forward. Then, also change up, the mindset that, people have, especially when it comes to, marriages that, you have to go through these and, these are kind of the mindset that you generally, need to change. And, now this is going to, we start from the inception, then from that is now the root cause of this kind of what actually orchestrate this kind of violence. Then from there, now we are going to get, our way forward. Then also I would urge even the government to create up more institutions that are going to, see different people. I agree to the fact that there's one polycare, and I think even now if you actually go into police centers, they actually, desks that have been, put aside for that. But I believe we can still do more so that, when you get to, 2022 or even towards the Vision 2030, I mean, this thing of, gender-based violence is going to be something of the past. So generally, let's keep the conversation ongoing. Let us not, put blame games on the victims. Let us also, give a listening ear to the victims. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. And of course, this year marks our 30th anniversary of this global 16 days of activism against gender-based violence campaign. And it started geared towards highlighting, the place women, a lot of women and girls find themselves across the world as far as gender-based violence is concerned. But now we know, and statistics are showing that there is an increase of even men who are going through these unfortunate scenarios that we've seen even in the country. We've seen a couple of, well-known people coming out and saying, you know what, I had to make a report to the police because my wife, beat me and hurt me. And when you look at even the response from Kenyans and how even this was turned into a joke, are we yet to understand, Tawish, that violence is violence is violence, regardless of who it is meted on, and it should be taken with the weight that it deserves?
Yes, indeed, Miriam, and I think I largely associate myself with the remarks made by, or rather the opinion brought forth by Sharon Gitonga on this particular subject. Because I think over a long period of time, gender-based violence has been misconstrued to mean violence against women only. It could mean really men as well. And more often, as it has been argued, in fact, men have really also borne the brunt of this gender-based violence, only that maybe they did not feel it's the right thing maybe to go and report to the relevant authorities for action to be taken. Maybe, I don't know, for fear, or I don't know why they fear to do that. But I think we need to really take this campaign and advocacy to another level, where we sensitize members of the public, be it a man or a woman, to understand that regardless of which kind of gender is a victim, that action really is being taken, that we are doing as much as we can really to safeguard the interest of the people around us. And this goes a long way also in terms of the people coming out really to help in reporting these instances, because it's not only about the victims going out there to report them. It should be also the members of the public, whether or not you are a victim and you've been able to really to come across such kind of violence being meted on either part, be it a woman or a man. We must be free really to go and report this to the relevant authorities. So I really hope that this kind of sensitization, advocacy, and campaign you're talking about really is going to go a long way in opening up our eyes to understand this kind of violence and what it really means in our society today. So it's a very good campaign. It's something that we continually need to do, especially on the men. Remember, men have been shying away from reporting this kind of incidences many often, and I suppose even my good brother Javan Karanja and of course Sean Wesonga can really agree, or rather will really agree, that this has been the case, that we fear to go and report. So when men are being sensitized, when this campaign is being carried out, they'll get to understand that it's normal. Sometimes you can fall a victim regardless whether you're a man or a woman. I submit.
Miriam, just a minute, if I could add from, some sentiments that Awish has said as to the reason as to why maybe men are afraid to come out. I think there's also the issue with ego when it comes to men. And most of the men are actually afraid to speak out, because they are seen to be the breadwinners. So the perception about how people are going to take you for, how people are going to judge you, I think this is one thing that, should be put to bed. I mean, gender, violence is violence, no matter who is a victim. So let no man actually be afraid to speak out. And, let's continue empowering both women and men and, actively engage each and every person to even create awareness on the kind of rights that they have when it comes to violence, so that we have everyone actually coming out to speak upon it. Thank you.
Okay, but when you say men are afraid to speak up because they're looked at as breadwinners, is it the breadwinning part, or is it because we assume men are supposed to be strong? Yeah, is it? There's
also that aspect. There's also that aspect, and the inferiority. So, in short, it is the inferiority, especially in the complex of marriage, where a man is perceived to be, the head of the home. So,
the protector, the strong person.
Yes. The strong person. So they don't want to also, feed their ego, when you talk about all that. So I think we also need to get away from that perception so that we can have, every other person. Let not judge any person, so that we can have, more people coming out, to, air their grievances. Thank you.
Right.
I think basically, Miriam, it is more to do with the kind of bashing, the kind things to do with the stigma that, of course, is associated with men reporting such kind of incidences. I understand there are so many women that are going through gender-based violence every other day, but it is according to the society and how we've been molded to understand this, that is more like normal really when a man beats a wife, but not vice versa. And that's why you see even people who are making fun of certain politicians. I don't want to quite go into that. Once, it was reported or rumored that maybe a wife beat up a certain senior politician in the country, I think sometime a year or 2 years ago in this country, and you could clearly see how everybody is talking about it. And so you can imagine the kind of stigma that is associated with it. So more often, I think men are really reserved when such kind of things, when they are victims of this, they feel like we do not want to go and report it out there because there's that kind of stigmatization. And just like Sharon did mention, the strong syndrome, like men are strong, they cannot be beaten by their wives, and how society generally is going to view you, even when you meet with other men, that you are beaten with your wife. I think this is something that you have been brought up to understand, like it doesn't really have to happen. You have to be strong. You cannot be beaten by your wife. And when it happens, it depicts you as a very weak kind of person. Yes, I think so.
Yes. And also I think the lack of awareness, because even as you make reference to that, case of, a popular politician in this country, Kenyans turned that into a joke. So that means that even in the wider public, there is lack of awareness of the magnitude of what is considered gender-based violence. I think there still needs to be awareness, and there still needs to be, for people to be taught, that it's okay to speak up. At the end of the day, these men who are quiet, you find the majority of those who are committing suicide are men. Yeah.
Yes, and I think also that our women must also be reminded, on a lighter note though, that it's not normal for them really to take men through this kind of situation really, because as we have been brought up, Miriam, in the societies that we have been brought up, it's unlikely really, you'll rarely hear of this, that a woman has beat up a man, or your mother has beaten up your father. So even as we carry out this campaign, it's important even to let our women understand that this is not really quite normal for them to do this.
Okay. All right. I just say that with a smile on your face. Samuel Zawish. Thank you so much. All right. So now let's get into the politics of the day. And a Raila event attracts large number of ODM followers. The story is on page 6 of the Standard newspaper. Orange Democratic Movement is struggling to contain huge number of supporters seeking to attend the Friday event, where party leader Raila Odinga is expected to declare his presidential bid. Party officials officials disclosed that they were overwhelmed by supporters seeking to attend the function at Kasarani Stadium in Nairobi, which has about 60,000 person capacity. Yesterday, Raila held a planning meeting with ODM and Jubilee Party officials drawn from Nairobi in preparations of the event that will drive the 2022 presidential momentum. So when I'm reading this story, what I hear, this to be meaning is that there's likely to be fracas, as we know that ODM supporters sometimes can be very passionate, and if they've come to Kasarani to see Baba, then you cannot tell them you can't come in. So are we likely to see any unfortunate incident, even as ODM prepares and Raila prepares to launch his presidential bid on Friday? Sharon.
Thank you very much, Miriam. And of course, I've seen, in one of the dailies and one of the reports that they have really beefed up security, especially, to actually ensure the safety. And just like you've outrightly said that, we are likely to get, this kind of a fracas. So I think, they have worked hand in hand with the National Police Service and, other security agencies to ensure that, there's going to be security. And I am so much anticipating. I think this is one event that is going to go down in history, and also going to be a turning point. And given the fact that the former Prime Minister Raila Odinga has actually been transversing this this region, and the whole country. You've seen him in Eldoret, you've seen him in Meru, and all other part of the counties. And one of the message that he has been so keen to derive is a unity of purpose, and that is that is paramount. Yeah. So I think given that his political, economic and social, ideology and blueprint that he has actually been transversing with the whole country is something that, is adaptable and viable. I believe, this is one of the strategies that is going to, deliver the country into an ultimate victory. So as it is, we are waiting up to see. And I definitely, agree with you that I know there's some, they have beefed up the security, but there's need to do more. So because, he's been urging people everywhere that he goes, everyone is welcome. So, and in that case, you might see even defectors also, and, people that do not subscribe to, his political party also trying to go there and orchestrate violence. I believe, we will have a level playing field, kind of a convention. And if anything, if anything that stirs up, I believe that everyone is going to, anyone who actually orchestrate this kind of, pre-election violence is going to be brought to book. But from where I sit, this is an event that is going to go down in history and be a turning point for this country. In my final words, I also believe that he's actually going to get a chance, to give his vision, his national vision that he's always had for this country. Because when you talk about a man who has been consistent and a man that has a track record and a statesman, I believe he has so much for this country. A man that has gone to jail without trial. For something that he strongly believes in. So it's a call to every person to just listen to him and listen to what he has to say for this country. Thank you.
Very well. Sharon Gitonga there, very passionately making her feel. Sharon, thank you for that. But as we know, Judith Mohammed there said, this is not an ODM affair. This is Azimio La Umoja, affair that, intends to bring everybody together. And they're saying that in every ward, about 5, slots have been given for every ward across the country. And I don't know, Azimio La Umoja, Sabot, are we likely to see ANC leader attend this meeting or this, event on Friday?
Very well, thank you so much, Miriam. It will really be very difficult for me to determine as to whether the other principles, especially drawn from the One Kenya Alliance, that is of Musalia Mudavadi, Kalonzo Musyoka, Moses Wetangula, Cyrus Jirongo, and as well Gideon Moi, will be attending this particular event. It's a wait and see kind of scenario. really to see whether they're going to attend it. And remember this word that President Kenyatta as well could be attending this event on Friday. We await really to see how that is going to pan out. Of course, personally, Punchline Africa TV will be there really to witness this particular occasion and see, really report live from the ground whether they are going to come. I want to imagine that Raila Odinga or ODMs has really sent out the invitation to all these political leaders as a show of unity, as a show of solidarity, because they have, you remember just the other day, Gideon Moi had what looks like more of what Raila Odinga will be having this time around, only that this is not more of a national delegates conference, I mean, particularly for ODM, it is the Azimio la Umoja convention. And that is why you saw Raila Odinga last time went to Gideon Moi's Kanu, and also went to Kalonzo Musyoka's Wipers event in Kasarani. I await to see whether the same is going to be of this particular event. Just like they have said that it's not more of an ODM affair, it's an Azimio la Umoja convention, which is going to draw membership from all political parties. And actually those who are of the similar thought and opinion and vision like that of Raila Odinga or for ODM as a party. And maybe we are going to see surprises this time around. We may see Kalonzo Musyoka come in, Musalia Mudavadi and other leaders, political leaders in this country, and maybe even declare support for Raila Odinga. We are not yet very sure as we continue to await whether Raila Odinga will be making that much awaited declaration that will be contesting for presidency. But I do not expect any surprise. We are just but expecting that Raila Odinga is going to heed to the calls of the Kenyan people. He's been saying that through the Azimio la Umoja forums that has been carrying in the country, he's been listening to the people's calls for him to contest for presidency. And Friday, the 10th of this particular month, will be that day when he will be actually giving a response to this particular call. So I expect, of course, that Raila Odinga will be making that big announcement, and maybe these leaders are also going to come in. As to the question of those who are going to come to attend, you've talked about 5 representatives in the name of delegates drawn from each of our counties in the 47, each of our wards in the 47 counties. That will make about 7,000 or so delegates, and the supporters drawn from all over the country, those who can as well make it to Kasarani, are actually being invited. The capacity at Kasarani, Miriam, normally is 60,000. That is if you are to assume that everybody really sits comfortably at the terraces. But if you are to assume that other people, maybe if the numbers were to go high, then maybe they will come up to the pitch, because again, this not really being a national event, you wouldn't expect that maybe there will be so much of a restriction, because normally when we have national events that are being led by the military, they have to carry out those processions and everything in the field. It makes it difficult really to have the ordinary people come up to the field. But this time around, maybe you are likely going to see a different scenario altogether. The only thing that we will appeal really to the supporters, that regardless of the number of the people who will be trickling into Kasarani for that particular event, that they must be peaceful. They must be able really to abide by the strict rules and regulations that will be that would have been put forth by the security apparatus, understanding that even of course, you've seen the terrorist activities that have been taking place in Kenya in the past and in the neighboring countries. You may not really be able to rule out that there could be a possibility of even these evil elements really targeting such kind of an event to infiltrate and come and harm the innocent civilians. So it is important for us really to abide by the protocol and security protocol that would have been set up, so that the numbers do not get out of control really. But I do not expect that we'll get over 60,000 capacity when we get into that particular event on Friday, Miriam. But really, we are waiting to see. You've always heard that Raila Odinga has massive support, especially in this county of Nairobi. We have over 40 million Kenyans in Nairobi. Assuming he was to get even, say, a quarter of it coming to attend, away from even the delegates run from all over the country. And the politicians who are allied to Raila Odinga and the handshake are also doing, carrying out campaigns and sensitizing their supporters really to come in. And they will even be maybe offering facilitation for these people to come and attend this event. So we expect it's going to be a very major event in Kasarani.
Okay, thank you so much, Sam Wish, for that. So quickly, as our time is slowly coming to an end, but of course, Ruto now There's a story on page 7 of the Standard newspaper. Deputy President William Ruto has asked the state to stop using the judicial system to intimidate his supporters and members of his United Democratic Alliance, UDA. Speaking on the third day of his Nyeri tour yesterday, Ruto claimed that the government was deliberately using the courts to harass those perceived to be UDA supporters and sympathizers with a view of scaring them to abandon him. The same court that also the government is complaining is stalling, a lot of, the government's initiatives and all that. So is deeply right in making these assertions, Sharon.
Thank you very much, Miriam. And of course, I saw, I saw that kind of the statement that he actually gave about the, criminal justice system. And, it's quite unfortunate that if we actually decided to, work with the criminal justice system and bring him on board, when you talk about matters corruption, because I believe he's one of the people that is actually at the forefront. And I think the best, if I were him or in his position, I would actually take up this, opportunity to even talk about corruption and how, or rather even any kind of, policies to actually fight against corruption. I remember yesterday we were having this conversation about, how corrupted, the entire criminal justice system has become. So when I see him actually, and to think about him actually being part of the government, I believe anyone who has the best interest of the people at heart would be at the forefront, trying to champion against the war, trying to champion, against the war of corruption. If anything, I've heard him before, saying that he doesn't believe that, corruption can actually, compromise, the service delivery of the people. And it's quite unfortunate that, we don't hear him talking about, this corruption, because you understand that now, like all the institutions, talk about the parliament. I was seeing something ridiculous about MCAs in Embu, that they have actually gone to Tanzania to, quote unquote, what I'll call, manners, to learn manners. Yeah, I don't know how that is going to pan out. And after the meet, after the, what I would call after that trip, they are meant to, pocket over 500,000. So it's quite ridiculous that, when we talk about, how corruption and, matters leadership and integrity has, devolved, in different parastatals and institutions, he's not at the forefront, trying to champion against the war, of corruption. So I think it's also quite unfortunate, when he actually goes to castigate such issues in, Mount Kenya region, which is, it's quite unfortunate, Miriam. Thank you.
Okay. You said those MCAs from where they went to learn what?
They went to learn manners.
Okay.
Manners, yeah. I don't know how that manners can actually be elaborated, yeah. But what I saw is that they are going to, pocket 520,000, and 20 million has been used for, that trip. So I don't know if it's the priority at the moment. I hope they're really going to come back with manners, but can you really teach an old dog new tricks? It's a wait and see situation. Let's see what they come back with, and probably if they'll have good manners, then they can narrow it down to all the institutions and even the MPs at large. Yeah, we've seen them actually taking bribes before to endorse certain bills. So I don't know if it's the step into the right direction. Let's wait and see. Once they're back.
Sharon, just hearing you share that, as a Kenyan, I don't know whether to be mad or just laugh, because what else can I say? Some also wish the DP now is saying that the state is using courts to harass his allies. And we've seen how these courts have also been relating with the state. So where are we? Is it right?
Miriam, it's really ironical that the deputy president, who is the second in command, can come out and make such kind of allegation, serious for that matter, that the state and the government that he serves in is the same that is actually indicting and claiming that it is being, it's actually really using the judiciary to threaten or intimidate those who are loyal or those who are supporting him politically. I understand there are so many people really out here who are supporting Deputy President William Ruto, So I do not want to go into mentioning names. But Miriam, are you not surprised that Deputy President William Ruto comes out and speaks of his supporters or loyalists really being targeted by the state, being intimidated? There are people of integrity, people who are not engaged in corrupt activities. We have never seen them just being arrested by the police or just being dragged into our courts. I mean, when someone has a criminal matter, when someone is corrupt, or someone is being asked really to account on matters, maybe prudent use of finances in whichever kind of capacity they are serving in as public officers, they cannot come and really hide in the name of being victimized simply because they're supporting Deputy President William Ruto. They must be held to account. They must come and answer to this question that people and Kenyans are asking these very hard questions. It is not being, it's not being about shielded politically by Deputy President William Ruto. So sometimes they say in Kiswahili, Miriam, unapata mtu ambaye ni mwizi anakimbizwa pia anaanza kusema mwizi. So he wants to create just a confusion because he knows that he really harbors or has people around him, most of them really who are going through so many cases in as far as corruption in this country is concerned. Miriam, are you not surprised that everybody really who has a case before our courts today, or somebody who is being looked after or being investigated, really wants to find sanctuary in Deputy President William Ruto? Because they know maybe they will be shielded politically. So this is something that must be condemned.
Thank you so much, because we have to bring this to a stop.
Before you Miriam, before you get off the screen and we go to the next phase.
Yes.
Tawish and Sharon plus yourself, you have been raising quite a number of issues that need clarification. The question of caning needs clarification on all students. I was listening very keenly up to the end of this, up to now. And the question of thieves, when you talk about a DP, harboring people in his office who are all under his party, who are all alleged to be, criminals. But let me put it straight now. There's one whose picture is going to be sent to Stephen to put on. She's wanted for 2.12 billion shillings tax evasion. She has been evading tax. She's called Mary Wambui. You know her. She looks like a man, a woman. Her hair is, she walks with a pistol in town. I'm sorry. She's now, a warrant of arrest has been issued. She's the main financer of William Ruto's empire. She has buildings, hotels. William Ruto has bought hotels in Zambia in her names. She goes on bragging. She even carries a pistol. To see a woman carrying a pistol on her, threatening you, even who is drinking your beer peacefully. I think time has come for people to crack on the crack. So on that one, Jawish, tick. On the question of caning, I am here talking because I was canned and I'm happy. I'm not traumatized. So I support. It's a deterrent. It's not. There is something. I think these are very good topics for Sharon. Pick them up and we discuss them. You are blaming the teacher. You are blaming that who is the victim? Who is the victim here? You are saying, I heard you said the victim. Who are the victims here? The children you have produced is a victim, should be explained. A lie. Children you have produced, you have carried 9 months, becomes a victim. He can't become a victim. He has become a participant, but not to be called. If I touch her, she's a victim. Does the child know? You in your house, when you do like this, the hand, every morning, guess what happens, Sharon? the baby will start also doing this every morning. That it is there. So if you are the father, you are burning people's houses. These children are watching. You go and buy a telephone for a 6-year-old child. On a smartphone, your 320,000 shillings, Kenya shillings. Sasa mnasema magoha is bad. Walaya magoha is not bad. Wacha turudi nyuma. Wacha just leave this law that it has come protecting what? The Bazungu who gave us this law, who told us the word human rights. The Muzungu disciplines the child like a, do you know why everybody goes to school in English, in England, and scores the highest mark, Miriam? Now, I'm telling you, Sharon, they scored the highest mark. Do you know why? The parents, when the parents are strict, you can't play with a Muzungu, an English parent or anybody who has taken children to school. The teachers will be on your neck if the book is not signed for a week. Do you know what happens, Miriam? That book that Magoha is suggesting is passed over to social services. Because the father might not be there. You might not be in the house. You might be breaking people's window, shops downtown. So you will see a knock on the door. Social service coming to say, are you here? Yes, your child has not been bringing a signed book. First, the teacher writes, can you sign the book? Then just give it a week and you don't sign. You will see how many people in a uniform, different institutions. Criminal justice system begins there. We have criminalized our homes. A child would like to tell you, you go and sleep, I'm still watching my film. My house. My house. Well, do you pay electricity in my house? You don't bring these problems here now, Sharon. Please. And you know, all of you are mothers and father. Be honest with these people. Because you are living a very dangerous life ahead there. Mtoto wako mwenyewe akwambie, you go to sleep, I'm watching my film. Why? Do you pay power there? Do you know how much I suffer to pay power? You as a parent, do you know how much you suffer? Sharon, you suffer to pay that power. Tawish, you suffer to pay that power. Miriam, you suffer to pay for that power. You don't allow your child to tell you, you go and sleep, I will switch off, I'm watching my film. Yako up. Hey, yeah, that's where we have gone wrong. That's where in Africa, now you are blaming. And it brings me to the topic I'm coming on. Now the topic in the next show, Miriam, is very interesting. We are bordering on this. We are blaming askari, sirikari, bridge inaanguka. Wewe. Bridge inaanguka, institutions ziko wapi? Every girl here with high flyer shoes. Na nywele mrefu namna hivi. I got my license yesterday. Go to hell. 1 month, 2 weeks, uko na license. I'm also now drive. Nyenye ndio mnaua watu kwa barabara. I support fully, 100%, fully Matiang'i and my good doctor, friend, Dr. Professor Magoha. haki ya Mungu, if we had teamed up to be together, the world would change. Everybody you touch, I wish you know that. Everybody you touch in this town, and after wearing these high shoes and come to I passed my test yesterday. Daktari, ninunulie gari yako, pesa iko wapi? Iko wapi? Then tomorrow you go and kill people. For a person to get a driving license in the United Kingdom, actually let's start the topic. Watch it once there. 28, Stevie. Production, open it up. And unless you want, don't stop the queue. Or you want to stop and we start afresh. This is serious. To get a license in the United Kingdom, it is easier to walk out on manslaughter charges in the UK than to get a license in the United Kingdom. I'm telling you today, you will pass test, you will fail test, you will fail again, you will fail again, you will fail again, but they will not give you a driving license. Why haven't we behaved like those countries? We behave like savages. Watch leo, savage. Then you come and blame the PS came to repair the bridge. PS in your way. Driver. The driving agencies here, instructors, must be taken to task. Your Miriam. That is just a sample of what is coming in my comment as an editor's memo. Don't allow your children to tell you, oh, I want that dad, mom, go and sleep, I will switch. You in who? You switch what? You switch what? You know how I get rent. You know how I suffer to get rent. All of you, do you know how I suffer to get even the food on the plate? Then unasukuma na chakula na mguu. Iko wengine wanasukuma chakula jawishe mwero, unampatia chakula anasema hiyo tupa. Don't allow that. Some of us grew in very strict conditions. And those, in fact, those strict conditions prepared me. Look at me today. I didn't know that I will end up in England. I didn't know. I did not know. Had my mother told me that you are growing, but you are going to end up in England, I would have done a lot of things. I would have done a lot of things, Miriam. Prepare myself, a lot of things, I swear. Because I suffered a lot when I arrived in a situation that you don't know, including you have to master the geography of the city, London, on your own. Had my mother told me, I would have maybe told her that, look, why are you bringing me out? So when you are being prepared by your parents, please learn to prepare. When a driver, instructor, the government must start cracking. Let's start the subject. Let's not finish the good words. End your program, Medium. But those are the comments that I wanted to make comments on some of the things. Caning a child or putting a deterrent of caning instills the sense of fear. And someone will not get a box of matches and they go and buy petrol and they come. You will fear the punishment ahead. But we have left our children, even when the teachers tell them, they go and they even beat up the teachers in front. They gang up, boys gang up and beat up a small teacher. I'm telling you, if you have 10 boys of 10 years each coming to beat you, they will kill you. because all of them will be armed. So we have told, we have left films, we have left so many things in the house. We have left games, some of them very violent on telephones. That I'm shooting soldier, Ethiopia. You are, look, you are teaching the child to kill you tomorrow. Mm-hmm. Look at the policeman. Sharon is gone. Sharon, you were even talking of a policeman this morning who just went berserk, just up here in Kabeti and killed people. The mentality. We are planting a dangerous mentality. So the digital platform, and then when you see the whole leadership of a country like Kenya dressed up, someone goes to get a paint of yellow and green on his body, not on the shirt, on his body, and he walks through almost naked. These children are watching. That's what they do. They watch those thugs. They watch how people shoot others in schools in the United States. Those films are there. They watch, they can even, haven't you ever come home and found your child has done something strange that you know, hey, how did this happen? Me, I've experienced that. Say, what, how did you go up there? He said, no, this is how we do it. The teachers told us we can do this. Aha, it happens. And it is ourselves. Don't blame coal that I can see people saying the road, the water. When you are driving, you are told what the water is. Even when you have a Range Rover, and I've seen some of the men with Range Rovers trying in that water. That because he has a Range Rover, he has to, no, you are stupid. In fact, you are stupid. You are very stupid. Very ignorant. You should not have that Range Rover. If I was the police, I would remove the keys and God take them to the police, Central Police Station. If you have driven through water because you have a fall, you know some people here, Miriam, do these things for pride. They think that they are impressing girlfriends. You know, especially this month here, all the time is the women who have caused the women have brought all this. You know, most of the accidents happen when you have a new lady in the car. I'm not saying on the women, or when a woman has a new man and they are driving to go to Naivasha. No, Miriam, I'm not saying you, but I'm telling you practically. There are women now hiring cars to go to Naivasha, the retreat this Christmas from next week. Tawish, everybody will be on that road. We have been there with Tawish, we have seen. All cars lead there. Go to the place where they eat chicken up there on Kinango. You can see everybody from Nairobi coming out of the car, stretching their legs. You know, now when they are sliding that they want to show. Watch any picture who you? Watch any picture who you? Eh? Because they want to impress. My food. My bed is in the, I have booked a room in the hotel. Nimatanga. This is how I probably take my advice, and especially Tawish and others, and the song, I don't know where he is. He's one of those who's broke accident. He better come here. With his, that I've bought, when Songa come back here, that I bought a Mercedes. Unataka sasa, you have a wife, you have a woman, let it be a side dish. You are the calico or something. You are going for holiday. She's already seated here. Why are you rushing? Why are you rushing? You know, most of the accidents, Miriam, most of the accidents happen now because of that. Stupidity. Pure stupidity. Look, music can be listened to in a very sober way. Teenagers, I wish Wesonga came back here. If you listen and start well near Wesonga's car, he has manufactured an extra loudspeaker. For what? That's why in my car, my Range Rover, you don't have extra loudspeaker. No, it is the music that came from in Britain. I just want to hear the news. The weather ahead is good. So and so, a roadblock ahead, killed the people, Afghanistan is burning, and drive. But the younger men now, they have got an extra five loudspeakers planted in a small car, not even a Range Rover, small, to impress a lady. Or ladies to impress a man. And they are driving. You are going to see many of these accidents. Road safety, accidents, and what else did I say? Road safety, accidents, and the driving. That is our topic, editor's memo. Let's come back. I think we had already started on the subject.
We are halfway, Doc. We are halfway. So just continue. Yes.
Let's continue. So I'll give a takeaway later. Medium, from what we have seen and what I've heard you talk this morning, first, it looks like we never learn lessons in Africa. We blame governments for the things that we ourselves have prepared, made, accepted the way they should go. The bus in Kitui, the driver whose bus went down, if you look at the record of the driver, he might have not even gone to any instructor to drive the bus. He might not even have a VH, some driving, heavy vehicle driving. He might not even have the qualities. He doesn't know the physics of driving. If you find a pool of water, don't take your car in a pool of water. First, weigh, stop, and see whether the tires will retouch the surface. And these are things that are taught to drivers who are beginning to drive, who want to drive to save lives. Any school of driving will tell you that any time when the object, when the water touches the bonnet, the body of the car, it submerges. It is called equipolling. Equipolling is the subject. Google it and you'll see. Equipolling. It takes the body, the car, it lifts the body. So when the water goes down and touches the body of the car, and the tires will not now stay on the ground. You will be floating. That's why in Indian Ocean, when a car goes to Indian Ocean, it drops in the Indian Ocean. If you don't catch it quickly, that car goes down quickly until it finds the surface. Then it can touch. So when you are driving and you see a deep end, stop and see. Don't blame government. Yes, government has not put a bridge, but even on that bridge, water could come on top. And if that water is reaching the body, the car will sweep you off the bridge. Am I wrong? The car will be swept off the bridge and you fall in the river. I'm telling you. Unless the bridge has got safeguards. Miriam, you are laughing, but that is the truth. I don't know why you are laughing.
Doc, how about we just build a bridge that water cannot flow over?
Miriam, there is no bridge. There is no bridge that water cannot flow over. There is nobody constructor of bridges who will ever tell you that there is a bridge that water cannot flow over. That's a lie. They anticipate, even the London Bridge, which is very famous. There's London Bridge, there's Victoria, there's another bridge, several bridges on Thames. The engineers estimated that in case a tsunami, they have estimated a tsunami hits Atlantic Ocean. The water that will be pumped into the Thames will be twice higher and it will reach the bridge. But it will not reach the bridge to the extent that it will strip off the cars. So when you are building the bridge, engineers look at all those aspects. But then you don't take chances and say, I am on the bridge, I'm safe. When the river is boiling, when it is raining and it is flooding and you can see the water rising up, you see, don't stay on that bridge and say, no, we are safe. No. I've told you the physics, the physics is once the water touches the lower part of, and it comes near the door, touches the body of the car, the tires no longer move. Or what you do, don't accelerate. Don't put on the pedal. Stop where you are. The water will pass because the water is coming, filling. It will pass and the tires will stick on the ground. Then once it subsides, then you see ahead. Probably you can reverse and go back, now knowing that ahead there is a problem. So the driver of this bus, having seen the water was taking him, he accelerated. That's why the bus ran faster, because now the tires are running in the air. It's like a plane in air or in water. So one of the lessons that we should learn, instructors schools of instructors for driving. The government should crack on that now. People get their license in 1 week. Some girls here, some ladies have a license without having gone near any driving. And she has it in the wallet. I'm telling you now, I'm sorry.
And not just girls, Doc, even some men.
Girls, no,
yeah.
I am talking about the girls because they utilize them.
But I know men who also have license and have not gone to driving school. So it's
okay. You defend your side.
I went to driving school, so.
No, I am not. No, I'm not medium. I am saying you are not. You are not that caliber.
Yes.
I've known you for all these years. You are not. But there is a caliber, a type of ladies here, high flyers.
Ladies and gentlemen,
they have driving license, but they don't. Okay, if you get somewhere and say you have fallen sick, you go somewhere, you are going to Nakuru, and they say, no, maybe you start to say the chest, things are not well, and they say, Madam, drive. You say, then, but you say you have a license.
And I know that the government has really, with the e-citizen, the government has really tried to stop and to the loophole, but still a few individuals find their way by colluding with the NTSA. But it's a bit difficult because it's a process to get a license now, but still there. You can get a license even without following the due procedure. So I think, yes, that is something that should be addressed. But I think also the NTSA a couple of weeks ago brought in new measures, especially with the driving schools, because the driving schools also collude with some people who necessarily do not want to go through the whole training process for them to go get their license. So you pay them a certain amount and then they just let you go and get your license. And so the government reintroduced new measures to ensure that, anybody that comes out of these driving schools, they're qualified and they're able to ensure that they are safe and the people around them in those roads are safe. So I think, and I saw a lot of driving schools fighting these new measures by the government. So the government should go hard and ensure these measures are put in place. Because we need to be safe on this road. So I agree with you, Doc, but it's both ladies and gentlemen from what I know that love these shortcuts.
No, it is. I agree with the shortcuts. All of us, both sex, male and the female. But I am now looking at a character. There are people who have very dangerous character, who even use these characters to extort money from men. Yes, and some men also who use this character to extort money from women. There are some men in town here who are gold diggers. No, wait. They extort. They come, they say, we know everything. When the trouble comes in town, he doesn't know even how to do a DIY. A small job in the house, even to make a screw, they don't know. To screw on the wall, they don't know. So we have morals that have decayed. We go and buy licenses. We go and bribe our way to get these documents. Uganda used to have big license with like a booklet. And I think Kenya still has those booklets.
No.
Yeah, some people still have booklets.
Because right now they have the e-driver's license.
Yeah, fine, that's very good. Uganda used to have those books. You get a license, they say, for 5 years. Now Uganda has introduced, and for you to get a license in that country, Miriam, you must have an ID. So when they brought Huduma number, people went on Kibicho, they harassed Matiang. Ruto said Huduma number is a scam. You see, you are not going to be able to drive anywhere in Africa in the next coming year if you don't have those things like the e-license. Because in Uganda, when the police stop you, they simply do like your money chip. They put here and then the record starts saying, aha, you knocked somebody somewhere and then you ran. Sir, you are under arrest. Because that license.
Even for the new license, Doc, for the new license here in Kenya, like mine, there is that chip. So you're given a number about 20 points. Every time you break the law, it's reduced. So after a while, I think your license will be suspended for some period of time. So we do have that. I just don't know if they're implemented on these roads. I think that is the big.
No. Yeah, I was coming to that. That is practical. It is on paper. Let me bring you an example that is shocking you. When the police impound Bangi, where do the police keep the Bangi? Anybody on the show can answer me. Where does the police keep the Bangi?
The options are only two, Daktari. Either they smoke it themselves or they sell it again. I mean, those are the only options.
No. Tawish, that is a different. No, brother, no. They don't smoke it. There is a government store. There is a government store where Bangi is kept. Exhibits are kept. Miriam, you are laughing this morning, my dear sister.
Daktari, on this one. It is like Daktari, if we are to give examples of the illicit brew, like Changa, for instance. If you went into most of these police stations, they normally impound, hundreds of liters of this illicit brew in the name of Changa or others. But you'll never see it actually even being produced in court, most of it as maybe say exhibit. So I think sometimes maybe these officers end up even selling this Changa themselves. Or if it's not about selling, maybe they drink it themselves, because where does it go after it's been impounded and it's at the police station, Daktari? And if there's a store, anyway, Daktari, if there's a store, then I think we must be sure where that store is and how many liters have been stored so far.
Sharon, have you ever found out where the police keep
exhibit? And they smoke exhibit? I don't think so. I've seen it a couple of times. They will pour or they will burn. I don't know, but I don't know.
Yes, Sharon.
Yeah, I thought probably there's like a relevant store, like you said, or an agency that puts these kind of exhibits are actually stored there. You see, like what happened with the firearms, if I could say, the firearms for Jimmy Wanjigi, and they were not actually with the DCI, like everyone actually was quick to call him out, and he actually said that they have been stored in a asset recovery agency. So the same case, I believe that probably there could be a certain store or an agency that deals with that. But for illicit alcohol, in most cases, we've seen them actually pour, especially at the grassroots there.
You know why I brought that point? Is if the judge of a high court called Judge Murima does not even know where government exhibits are kept, Tawish is correct. The judge might think police drink this, smoke this Bangi. Or the judge thinks the DCI keeps the guns at his home. So we need, the point I'm trying to make here is that we need education at every stage, Miriam.
Mm-hmm.
Before you acquire a driving license, which is going to kill people, you need education about the usage of the road. In the United States Kingdom, you take 6 months, I am now telling you, 6 months course. Then after that, you do an exam and you prepare for it, Rio. It's not a simple exam where they are going to say,
even here, I prepared for my driving exam. I really did.
The practice.
Take the right process. It's really, really meticulous. So yeah, they
Medium, that is okay. Things are coming up. I am happy. But we should take, that bend. When you are driving that bend, which angle do you turn? What is it called? Those you must answer and pass. You can't only pass how to engage gears and drive and go and kill people. But you must have the brain. So the driver of this bus might not have even known. You are told to drive in snow falling times. in Britain. When the snow is on the road, what speed do you drive? How do you drive? What distance? For example, some of the teenagers taking road trip to Naivasha, carrying beautiful ladies and beautiful men. I'm always on that point, and it will not escape. Or Tawish has passed through it. We have passed through it. Some of us also have passed through it. We carry people towards Naivasha and spy for a weekend. We don't want to tell a lie. I've reached a stage where God can even get annoyed with you if you don't say the truth. We go to Naivasha with some of ourselves. We can say 5 of us, let's go. Then we start driving the car, bumper to bumper. Driving conditions, the way people drive in Kenya and Africa worries me. That you break bumper to bumper, you see, and then the man comes when they reach up Kinango. You see them, you go to the washroom, and then you hear them boasting. Wana, in Mupita, I passed that guy, man. Uliona kabendi yako, nilikufanya na like that, impressing the girl. You might not even have the girl at the end of the day. You will end up somewhere down Naivasha. You are dead. Me, if you invite me to go to Mombasa by car, I will start at 4 a.m. and I reach 4 a.m. I will reach 4 p.m. because my speed will be 40, 60, 40, 60, 40. Senor, what am I rushing for? My room is there. My hotel is booked in Serena or the end of the beautiful hotels. The room is smiling for David, he's coming. Why am I rushing to kill myself? No, ask that. I am teaching some manners of people. This is Christmas now, and this is going to happen. If you are not careful this Christmas, those are the accidents. You have carried 5 children of yours whom you produced, whom you labored so hard. 9 months each, times 5 is 45 what? Months. And you are there, even jumping in the car, oh yeah, even dancing on the steering. Tawish, am I wrong? You see these teenagers, they are driving a car on Nakuru Road, Nairobi Nakuru Road. Their children heads are outside. And it doesn't tell the child, sit down, put on a seat belt. These are the things. We are community TV. We must talk about this. We must talk about it. If you're a responsible parent, if you're a lady, and you have your child at home, and somebody has given you a good time of a weekend, like this long holiday coming now, so many people, if you go to their houses, you will not find them there. You know, they have disappeared. They have lied to you. They are in Nairobi when they are very far. They are you see, is also a cause of accidents. Lies cause accidents. Because when you lie to your wife that you are not in Naivasha, then a hippo comes to destroy the house in the hotel. Then they airlift you from Naivasha. What do you do? No, Miriam, I'm asking, and Sharon, you lied to your wife. You are in Nairobi, yet you are in Dar es Salaam. So problems happen, a tsunami occurs in Dar es Salaam. Then they said they are looking for Matanga. Some of these accidents come that way because people hide, they're hiding, running away. They are doing things in hurriedly, driving very fast to go and fulfill an appointment. Then come back and lie. Lies create accidents. A tsunami occurs in Indian Ocean. It has destroyed the hotel where you are living. And then you say, oh, by the way, it carried me from Nairobi up to here, the tsunami. When your wife is coming to see you in the hospital. So when the things we do these days, do them when you value your family. Value your family. Morality goes down there. I saw one canon of the Anglican Church today on Citizen TV talking shit.
Is it Anglican or Catholic? I'm not sure.
I don't know. He's Secretary General. He's a shit guy. Why do you bring such people on national TV to talk nonsense? These people are corrupted by Ruto's money, actually. I'm telling you, I'm sorry. That church man should not be brought on national television. He was talking nonsense. These are the people causing Kenya erosion of morality. We grew up when we know something called catechism. Is it catechism? What is it called? Tawish?
Catechism.
Catechism.
Yes. Catechism. Yes. We knew that. You recite it. Tell me how many of these bishops are teaching us that? How many? If you are dancing disco rumba on the floor with a bishop, and all of you are going to meet in the church in the morning, what will he tell you? And he's buying you one, have one for the road. The society has gone berserk because of accidents. You see?
Mm-hmm. But also, Doc, sorry to cut you. I know because of the pandemic and the transport industry was greatly hit during this period. So now during these festive seasons, the public service vehicles might take advantage of now a lot of Kenyans wanting to travel from one part of the country to the other. So there's the issue of fatigue where, a bus will be driven to Nairobi, all the way from Nairobi, say to Kisumu. The driver will not even rest. There will be other passengers waiting, and they'll be coming back to Nairobi. So they'd want to perhaps compensate for what they lost during these difficult times. And so perhaps, the government should take very keen measures on these public service vehicles during this period, the festive season.
Doc, before you you answer to Miriam's question, I also just remembered, and maybe you'll also answer this. It's connected to what you've talked about, the public service fatigue. And I noticed there's usually a trend every time when it actually nears the festive season, whereby you find the different public service vehicles that are not meant for that route. Say, for instance, I have seen I travel in my up country, that is in Meru, and sometimes you actually see like Kenya Mpya or these metro these buses that are not even meant for that that particular area or that particular county. They are only meant for Nairobi, short distances, in short, traveling for long distances. And in most cases, we've seen so many accidents because one, probably the driver is not, privy to that route, or, the car was not serviced well enough. So maybe you could also answer that, in line to what Miriam has talked about, fatigue, and also how, these kind of drivers actually find their way. And you even wonder, how did they even get to, travel over 200 kilometers, a road that is full of police officers, was who even gave them permission to actually travel all the way. Thank you.
And maybe Miriam and Dr. Masanga, before just Dr. comes to respond to that, listening into Sharon's, of course, remarks, I think Dr. Masanga is a right person really to tell us maybe what happens, say, for example, in the US or in these developed countries, because you will understand that anybody, regardless whether you're a new person in that particular road, the government or the people, the agencies that are actually involved in making sure that the roads are in proper condition must always make it easy for anybody, regardless whether you are new in that road or not. I think the question here will be: Are you driving a roadworthy vehicle? Is a person who is driving really qualified? Is he a competent driver? A person who has gone through the training and is able really to drive? Because when it comes to really going into places that are new, for example, you don't necessarily need to get a person who is well versed with that particular road. Any road, regardless whether you've been to that road or not, it must be very easy for you to drive through, because the road, first of all, must be in good condition. Second, that it must be well demarcated. It must be well really marked. Like, for instance, if there's a bump ahead, there must be a notice that, like, there are bumps ahead, let's say in 50 or 100 meters, there's a sharp bend ahead, or there's a bridge, or there's a black spot. I mean, when you're a new driver, regardless, and you're able to see all these signs, you're able to see these demarcations and road signs, you'll be able to drive comfortably. So I think sometimes also these agencies that are involved in making sure that our roads are marked, Miriam, and my colleague panelists sometimes are sleeping on their jobs. I remember some time back I was driving along this, of course, Narok toward in Kilgoris, and I found myself really that certain guys had really erected an emergency bumps along the highway, simply because there was an accident that occurred and the animals really were killed. And the angry Maasais decided just to erect bumps along the highway simply because this happened. But you see, when you're a driver and there's no sign, nobody has told you that there's a bump ahead, you just find yourself really knocking yourself in this particular bump. So I think the authorities, say, for example, Kenha, what is it that they are doing? If it is a black spot, are there marks or demarcations to indicate that you are towarding a black spot? You're towarding a very sharp bend, that we are having bumps ahead. So most of our roads as we speak today, if we are to be objective enough, really do not have this kind of demarcations. They do not have these markings. And it is also a very big challenge on the authorities, those who are involved, to make sure that they do the right thing so that we can be able to reduce this. A case of having unlicensed drivers really driving on our roads, that is something that the police can quite deal with. How do we allow this? How do we permit this? Why do we have unroadworthy vehicles really being able to be driven along our roads? How do we have people really overloading? A case of what happened, for example, in Kitui, the case we are just, our reference case study as we speak today, Miriam. I mean, the capacity of this vehicle, you are told, was less than 40, is it? And the number of occupants, it's rumored, was more than 50. How did it come to be?
70.
I mean, there are certain things that we continue to do, not Yes, on the side of the authorities as well, and on the side of the individuals. For example, people say this accident would have been avoided. How? If these people were patient enough to wait until the water subside, because there's what we call virtue of common sense. You notice that these waters are so extreme and you cannot be able really to cross. Do you need government really to come and inform you that these waters you can't cross? I mean, there are certain things that we really need to sensitize our members of the public, but government as well must do that which is supposed to do. For example, making sure that this bridge is really in good condition, regardless of how we would want to put it.
And of course, the signage. But the new roads, the signage is very proper when you're driving through. But I think that is something that perhaps the government should look into and see, because like when you're driving through a place where, you're expected to meet cattle and stuff, there should be a sign to show the driver, the animals you're likely to encounter, so they will drive with caution. So I agree with you in that regard. So sometimes the signage is poor or it's just not there at all.
Yes, indeed, Miriam. But even if you were to talk about that, for example, if I was to give a case of, say, if you are driving along this Narok road, I mean, the drivers really are acquainted and they know maybe where there's that signage that animals are crossing, or beware of animals crossing, or maybe students are crossing. I mean, they will be aware. But you will find students or people who are herding these animals, they have not been sensitized enough to understand that the animals can only cross at a particular place, but they are just allowing animals to cross anywhere in this particular road. So that in itself also makes it difficult for the drivers. I think it's a responsibility on each of us, really.
Tawish, you've talked about signages, but I think the point that I was trying to raise across is, the kind of, they say when the demand is high, when the demand is low, when the demand is high, the supply gets low. So at this point, do vehicles that are not, allowed to a certain route, are they, what, does the public service, the vehicles commission, do they even allow these matatus to even traverse, counties that they are not allowed to? That, I think that was my biggest concern. I also, I'm privy to the fact that, there are poor signages, but also how do we allow cars that are, vehicles that are always in Nairobi to, let's say, go to Kisii and Kisumu and they've not been there before? I believe even before, when you're doing like a field, there's what they call a field work. That is a reconnaissance. If you've not been there before, how then are you able to say, how else are you able to actually go to those places?
Yeah, sure, Sharon. And I think these are debates that we'll have until cows come back. That's why I was saying, regardless. Sorry, Doctor. Let me just make my point, Doctor. Regardless whether you are new in any particular road as we speak today, the road must be in a condition that will allow you to drive safely without any hindrances. I think that should be the case. And Dr. will agree with me on this, that if there are road signs, for example, you've never driven along that route, maybe something that I'll agree with Sharon is that there are vehicles that cannot go long distance, and more often, and more often you'll find drivers and even the companies of these particular vehicles really allowing these vehicles to go those long distances when they are not really conditioned to go through long distances. That is why you see often, and also during this festivity season, most of these vehicles that cause the accidents in our roads are those that do town service. But because of the high demand you're talking about, you'll find people ferrying passengers all the way from Nairobi to Busia. One, this vehicle is not really in a condition to be able to go all that long distance. On that one, I agree with you. But when it comes to the terrain, when it comes to the road and the signage, I mean, it should be in a position that any new driver will be able to drive safely and without any obstacles along the road. I think that is the argument that I was bringing forward.
And I think most of our roads are like that.
Yeah, sure.
Go ahead, Doc.
Let me ask one serious question. I wish you were a driver. How often do you service your car? How often do you service your car? How often do you check the tires of any car that you are going in? All of you.
Even
in Matatu in the town, media, everybody, we all use these things. Do you go down and check? You don't. Me, David, you call me a car, and maybe that's why God is keeping me. You call me a car first, even you Uber. If it is not, the other day I reached the airport here. A man brought a car when it was very dirty. Very dirty. Then I told him, look at my shirt. Me to sit in this car, take it away. I shamed him in front of all the people there waiting for people so that he can learn. Africa, we need to be practical. Africa needs Kagame type of people. You can't take a dirty car at the airport in Rwanda. That huko kukaa paka unangojea watu. Ile that you a taxi driver, dirty. Some environmental guy will come and say, please, it's better, we don't want to find you, but go and wash your car. A society disciplined. Now you talked of road signages, is it signs and so on. Let me tell you, it is our problem again. This is what that priest should have said. The priest who came on Citizen TV today. Morality has collapsed. These signs, when these roads were made, I remember during Kibaki days, when I came here in 2004, 3, when I was going to Rodwa, to Kitale with Sky News. There were signs everywhere, you know. The ministry contracted people to do the signs. But we human beings picked those signs and made sigiri, you know, charcoal, this is charcoal stove. People have taken the signs and made charcoal, and we reach Chikope and start eating this meat. We've stolen signs. Even when you are eating meat, you see the green color of the Ministry of Works. The sigiri is boiling your meat. I'm now making some people hungry in Kenya here. And they get angry so that you start policing yourselves. Leta nyama ngine. He's boiling nyama kwa sigiri, which was a sign of the road. It was a signpost showing that there is a sharp bend. That signpost has been made into sigiri.
On that one, you're very right, Daktari.
And the policeman is there standing saying, hii nyama ilikuwa mzuri sana, leta ngine. Are we not ourselves killers? We kill ourselves. Show the photograph. Stephen, bring back the photograph of that bus. I will show you why you should not blame the government. Why? The government tries to build bridges, but it doesn't build your brain.
Building bridges initiative, or which one?
Now, have you seen on this side, slowly, signs were here. If you bring the photograph of the minister of the PS who was inspecting this bridge, there were signs. I saw them. There were signs here, but the people have taken them off. They were signing showing that a dangerous bridge, floods, watch out. People have taken them off. They have taken them off. They have taken those metals for building their houses, lintels. You know, when you are building a house, there is lintel. Ile nashikilia cement. Inipata ya bure. Somebody collects that throughout Kenya on these roads. Go on Mombasa Road. The Chinese put up the signs. The only signs that have defeated people to bring are the big ones up there. But I think time is coming when they will find a way to bring them down. Which says this is now Moyale, this is now Malaba. Have you seen those ones on Fika Road? If you look at them nicely, Gitonga and Miriam, they are also disappearing small. You can't read some letters have disappeared. Have you not seen that? Someone makes sure that they fall, then he takes. It is a lot of money, it's a metal. It is 1, 2, or 3 sigiri. Charcoal stoves for cooking, and he sells. And the person is panel beating in the workshop, selling a government property. Then when an accident happens like this, you say, Uru is very bad, Uru Mungai cannot, Uru Kenyatta cannot go and save you from a silly mistake of a driver who has not been educated that when there is a pool of water, don't accelerate, don't go in it, just wait. Because once the tires don't touch the ground, medium, that's the end of it. If there's no contact between the tire and the earth and the floor where you are driving, you will be swept. However little the water is, even a stream, even just, you know, the other time, when it rained in Nairobi, before they constructed that, the thing near Museum Hill, that thing, it rained water where the Pope came to give the mass. It rained and the people brought inflated boats. I found the people there not knowing that they could die there. You know? And the governor, Sonko, encouraged people to bring boats in town, the one that inflated, that you can fly. I refused to go to town until the water went down, because, you know, there are two things that could happen there. The car, water could go into your engine, it stalls where it is. And believe me or not, you will die there if you don't know how to swim. Fortunately, in Matanga, I know how to swim very well. Very well. Sharon can laugh, but I swim very well. 30, 60 laps. Non-stop, 30 laps. I know you can't throw me in water. Some people see when I'm like a...
Look, I'm laughing because I am yet to take that. I'm yet to... I fear water, so that's why I'm laughing.
You fear water?
I fear any large water body that is that I don't know. Anyway, yeah, that's why I'm laughing.
To begin by this week, this Christmas, you can go to Mombasa and just walk by the beach.
Let us start with a pool. Mombasa is a big water body. Did you not hear she has a pool?
No. Actually, I can swim in Mombasa, but I cannot swim in a large, in a depend pool. That's the irony of life. I don't know. Yeah, that's why I was actually laughing. I am one of the people that is really challenged by this scenario. Yeah, I know.
Can you fly to the US?
Yeah. I'm not afraid of heights. I'm just afraid of...
Not heights, but when you look at the ocean down, when you open the window, then you are like me. When I'm going to the US, I have a problem. I don't sit on the seat. Miriam, I walk the whole hours talking to the ladies, the crew. And I'm getting, I'm now telling you the truth. I can't sleep on the flight to United States after it has left the Dakar or it has left Johannesburg. I have not used the one Nairobi direct, not yet. But I can't sleep. And I get this thing, they say emergency, what? Luckily now South Africa has got Airbus. You know the Airbus safe, those safe, they are down there in the business class. Niko tayari. Anytime the thing comes, we go. We shall go down. It will find me down there. I can't wait for us to go down together. In the plane, all the way to London, on the ground, when it is flying on the ground, I am happy. As soon as it touches Mediterranean Sea, nasimama. Tunazungumiza paka, now we reach Palermo, Italy, hapo Venduza. Yes, ndio nakaa chini. I have that feeling about the plane and the water. But on this pool, I am a good swimmer. So I will teach you how to swim, prepare your costume one of these days. What is it, Miriam? Prepare the costume. We can start with a biscuit, probably. You enjoy a bit of that as a present for graduation on Friday, Miriam.
No, I don't need swimming lessons. I'm fine myself.
No, I will do the swimming. It doesn't mean only swimming. Maybe sauna, spa.
Hey, Doc, let's come back to road safety.
Yes, I'm trying to get to tell what is happening. It is part of exercise.
Yes.
Learn to swim is to rescue others.
It's very important.
Finally, when you look at the signs, the signs have been taken by us human beings. Tawish is correct. The new cars that go to different positions because of the demand also cause accidents. If you don't know the roads in Kisumu, you need to go with Miriam. I don't know where she's going. I would have followed towards Kisumu. And you know, as usual, Miriam keeps her records very quiet to herself. And then she comes to tell you, I enjoyed. That is very good. But me, my records are public. Because this Christmas, you will see, I will be broadcasting. I won't lie where I'm broadcasting from. So we have let down ourselves. We have created the difficulties ourselves. The driving instructions are not there. The whole, this week we have been doing what we call criminal justice system is collapsed. It includes NTSA, which should be giving you the certificates, the driving permits. There is one component that none of you touched, or you touched briefly, but you did not talk about it. What they call MTO, Ministry of Transport, MTO, and MOT, Ministry of Transport, test certificate. In Britain, your car, before you get a permit, and one of the reasons why we have got a problem now, and we better be careful, and let people listen to me on this. We pick phones and call insurance companies. The government must crack on insurance companies that issue insurance without looking at the car. We must tie the insurance, tie the roadworthy of the car, tie with the driving permit. In doing so in Kenya, you would be making sure that accidents, people who have no insurance, if you have no insurance on your car, you won't have MOT. If you have no MOT, you don't have insurance. If you have no insurance, your driving license will be null and void. Because if you are found driving a car without insurance, you are going to kill people. 7 points will be taken out. 5 points will be taken out. That's the point format Miriam was talking about. That is one of the ways government can seal accidents on the road. Insurance companies have put money to give cover. You find people selling cover, insurance cover, in the name of God, without considering the car you are insuring. Without an MOT, a certificate of roadworthy. In Britain, even if you go to the Queen and appeal, nobody will give you. And the testing centers are strict. If they find one bulb is missing, if they find the rubber down is rotten, they will not issue with MOT. They will issue with a provisional checklist to say, go and put that spring, that one, buy a new one, buy hydraulic, then come back and we do the road test again. Miriam, what do I mean by road test? The government can save people here from death by introducing one testing centers. Huge. It's a huge business.
They're there. Your vehicles have to have
hazard and
yes,
no, but even
all of these things are there. They're actually
there's even the hazards and the first aid kits that are actually usually compulsory when you make some long distance travels. Some police have to actually check if you have them.
Okay, okay. Miriam says they are there.
No, they're there because an insurance firm, it can't insure a car that will bring them losses. You know, at the end of the day, they have to ensure that your car is in good condition. Because if they bad car.
Miriam, you are talking.
Yes, there's a. It is called vehicle inspection unit.
Tawish, wait first. Miriam is talking like she's a new person in Jerusalem. people, Tawish, they pick this cover by phone. Am I wrong, Tawish?
Correct on that, Doctor. You're correct.
You say, Miriam, those centers are there, but who goes to check whether the car was taken to the center or not? The police, when they stop you, what do they ask? Your driving license. But the police don't ask, can we see the roadworthiness of your car? In Britain, when the police stop you on the road, they check the roadworthiness of the car. One policeman is checking your documents, another policeman is checking the tires. In fact, if the uniform is supposed to be used, he kneels down to see the tire. Our policemen don't want to put their feet or their knees on the floor because the blue uniform is very expensive than the British black uniform. They just check your license, you go. A few meters down, one tire runs out of your car, it goes to smash people seated in a shop. Drinking, you have just stopped with your Casimiro baby. You are trying to have soda before you proceed. The tire comes running. Such accidents are there. Look at those people in the lorry there. Look at the lorry. We are talking this because this is going to happen. This is Christmas, Jamen. These things are going to happen. Take care of these things. One of the things you have to do when you are driving during this Christmas is to be careful. Completely careful. Have enough sleep. Take water where necessary. Have enough break. Don't overdrive when the bird, the chicken, the cow, the goat you are going to slaughter is not complaining. Tawish is going to slaughter cows and cows across there in the narrow. Is the goat complaining? The goat is waiting for Tawish to hammer it. Why do you rush? You have your wife. You have your 2 good children, 3. They are here in the car. Relax. Even if you drive at 40 like a Matango, 40, 50, 40, 50, 40, 50, you go. Pass me. Some of them just hoot at me. Why are you driving like that and there's a nice car? I said, oh, it's all right. In fact, when you stop ahead in a place where they are eating food, they say, my friend, is your Range Rover sick? Then I said, it's not sick. That's the way I drive. First of all, it is mine. It's not on hire purchase. Miriam, one of the things that I hate on life is hire purchase. Because they embarrass you, they come and take the car when you are with your wife or you're on your, especially, Dawish, have you noticed that the debt collector comes near? When you are prepared with your wife and the children, you are going to Mombasa for holiday. Sorry, Miriam. Sorry.
Okay. It's okay. Get yourself some water. But I think
I've drunk. Now a bailiff comes, says, "Excuse me, madam, is this Samuel Tawishi's car?" "Yes, please. Can you just step out? We want to repossess this car." These are some of the hazards of this man. So in London, the last rent to pay, if you're a rent payer, is this week. You know how Christian they are? They will stop paying rent this weekend and they'll allow you this time. You know, this is organized. Allow you, if you allow you to have 6 children, you don't have even 1 shilling on how you are going to eat. How do you buy? And each child comes with a demand. One of them comes, he wants you to buy a toy, which is 170 pounds or 200 pounds. So what the British government has done is the last type of payment for rent. The last payment for rent during Christmas time for British nationals when you are in London is they stop payments on 14th. So the other weeks they leave you, they don't ask for people. If you have been a good payer, they say yes. They wait for you again January, February when it is beginning. You know, that is what we call a system. But a system in Africa which collapses this Christmas, where the car is driven without MOT. A car, the driver does not know that standing water is a danger to the car. He has been given a license, bought a license. For 1 week, he bought a license. I have women and the men who have bought licenses when they are seated in their sitting rooms. So these are a hazard during this month, Miriam. In summary, we have made ourselves, don't cry for the government and hey, government has ideas, government help. Government help what? Government helps the driver who knows that water, once the water touches the bonnet, the body of the car, it will float. Whether you have a Range Rover, whether you have a Mercedes, a bulletproof, it will go. So don't accelerate the pedal. Just wait until the water passes. Or don't drive at all. So in a nutshell, all these things, Miriam, on the roads, first, they come as a result of cheating. We are liars, morality. You lie to your family, you are in Mombasa, when you are actually in Naivasha. You are running back, driving back. That is what Sharon was saying. Most people run back, driving, to go and convince the other one that I have been Mom, I have been in Nairobi. Then because that kills people, 10 people on the road. Those lies should stop. And those lies are the ones that have caused Africa to have a very big problem. And that's why we, as a community television that preaches road safety, accidents, good driving, this month we dedicated, Miriam, to good drivers. I'm not saying women only. Even some women also pick licenses. You know, there are women nowadays who want to show that they drive. Most of them this Christmas are going to show off. And that is where we have got most of the problems that we have. So for me, all accidents happen in Africa because of negligence, because of the schools for teaching driving are very bad schools. The schools are bad. The instructors don't tell people everything. In the United Kingdom, 6 months before you get a driving license. It is easier to steal a bank in Britain than to get a driving license in Britain. You have to do all the tests. You have to know each and everything, even oral and written. If the government of Kenya introduces those, then it teams up with good certificate of a car, teams up with insurance companies, cracks on the DCI, and it should crack on, and the Ministry of Treasury should crack on insurance companies. like a Ruto's insurance company, which gives Ruto's insurance company has never compensated any human being here. But Miriam, have you ever been compensated? Ruto's, if you issue with Amaco, I issued it with, I got a certificate from Amaco in Uganda that my car got an accident. Up to today, Ruto's insurance has not paid me. Then you want Matanga to be happy with this Ruto. Hapa alinikula, huko ananikula. So what else do you want Matanga to do? You look at that, Miriam. Amaco Insurance has never compensated my, it was a claim of 3.5 million Kenya shillings. We insured, instead of going to National Insurance Corporation, my driver went and got a license of one of my cars from a certificate from their insurance company. Then someone came and knocked us, we repaired. Then when we put in the claim, 3.5 million up to today. Uganda shillings, not Kenya shillings. So I said, these are some of the things, the panel, that we should watch out during Christmas, during this season, that the accident in Kitui was an unfortunate accident. But the driver should have been taught that when there is running water, never take the tires that don't touch the surface. It will always sweep you, however small the stream is. I submit, therefore. Thank you very much, Miriam. Thank you very much, the panel. Thank you very much, all of you, for listening. Let's see tomorrow. I know you are going for, I don't know, what are we? Are you on tomorrow?
Let's finish the show first, Doc, and then we can talk.
Okay, fine. So, thank you very much. The show was very interesting from morning up to now. You have brought in quite a number of things. I want to thank you very much, all of you, for continued support and for continued support of the legacy of His Excellency, the President. We have done our job. He has done his job. This woman, but before I go, there is a woman that I already flagged a long time ago called Mary Wambui. This woman, I told some people sometime, I found this woman in The Hague. She has a short hair and she goes to a nightclub with a pistol. A woman to have a pistol on her, in her trouser, is very dangerous. I flagged this woman a long time ago. I did not know that this woman was connected to Ruto. I found her in Movenpick Hotel in The Hague. She said, let me buy you a drink. I said, buy me a drink. I have 20,000 euros. What are you, which drink? Kumbe, I'm talking to a multimillionaire. She told me, oh, la, I am the DP's. We were struggling on Rule 68, which Ruto does not appreciate. He never thanks the people. I don't know why the people from Nyeri are even coloring themselves. I have friends from Nyeri who are even hate. My God, what is all this? I can't believe it. Salvation comes from Nyeri. How can Nyeri become yellow? Oh, no. I am going to talk to my friend called Nick. I want to look for him. Whether he's online. Are you online, Nick? I want you to tell me you are live on TV now. Can you tell me why Nyeri has become yellow?
No, Nyeri is not yellow.
Yeah, talk louder. We are hearing you.
Nyeri is not yellow. Why did you go there at night?
Yeah, because we thought that Nyeri was one of the areas, the panel here, we thought the stronghold of His Excellency the President. And the Ruto, have you heard that, Miriam?
No.
Okay.
What did he say?
I am putting my microphone to the phone so that you can hear. He's saying you can only rent a Kikuyu, but you cannot buy one. I can. Yeah, can you talk now? Uh-huh. We didn't. There were no crowds in Nyeri town. No.
Yes. The only crowds they had were in Madera. That is constituency where women were already drawn symbolic of the communist colors.
And the colors of Moi era.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
But just you can only rent because after that they are not from any bush building because they abuse in front of children, in front of preachers, in front of women. They abuse another man who has seen language like about 20 years. Very highly advanced TV station.
Yes.
Very
Uh-huh.
Nyeri is a welcoming place for everybody. Welcome all of you.
Yeah.
But we will make our
So the caller, let's call you Mr. Ottoman Ottawa. Mr. Ottawa from you are calling from Lusaka in Zambia.
Doc, we can't hear what he's saying. It's not clear on our side. Even
It
for
is
the
not, you can increase the volume.
yeah.
He's saying, have you heard something, Miriam?
No.
Okay, I don't know why. Let me see. Just a minute, because the point is making. Okay, go ahead now. Hello? Hello, go ahead. You hear him now? Go ahead, we are hearing you.
I was telling you about Nyeri. The politics of Nyeri are very well documented.
Yes.
Nyeri is a bastion of hope.
Yes.
And there is no a single day that Nyeri, being a county, there's Nyeri town, Nyeri county. Nyeri county will not vote for somebody who killed their children in a church. They do not forget. And in Kikuyu, we have a saying that they said, the person who shows you the teeth and laughs with you necessarily is not your friend. So you can invite him, but you can get to read to understand him. Even the Mau Mau sat hand by hand with the British, but at the same time, in the night, we used to sit back and decide that we are going to finish the British imperialism that was represented in Nyeri.
Okay.
So be careful with Nyeri. Nyeri is not a place you just look at it and think you have it.
Okay. Miriam, do you have any questions for him? Because he's hearing.
Not really.
Tawishi, do you have any questions? He says Nyeri is not going to vote for people who have killed their lives, their children, burning them in a church. And the campaign has not started yet.
Sure, Dr. I wouldn't quite be labored to try and ask any more questions because what I get to understand from that particular caller is that there are people who desperately want to show up that they have support in Nyeri and most parts of central Kenya. And that is not the true reflection of what things are on the ground. Because again, when you looked into what was happening with the Deputy President William Ruto's, of course, rallies in Nyeri and most parts of central Kenya, I think he's so desperate, and he cannot come to terms with the fact that the mountain has already shifted, and he does not have the backing that he had hoped. Maybe that it was absolute for him. And that is why you see the likes of Rigathi Gachagua, Member of Parliament for Mathira, are really struggling and desperate to show Deputy President William Ruto that we are in total control of Nyeri, if not the entire Mount Kenya region, to a point that they go there and give people, of course, this merchandise painted in the UDA colors. You can quite see and understand that these are not just spontaneous supporters coming on board to listen to Deputy President William Ruto. These are people, this is an event that has completely been choreographed, an event that has been completely prepared just to try and depict a picture that the DP has support in central Kenya. That is not really the position. Because I saw even with the ladies really who lined up in that particular, I don't know whether it was a church or a stadium or wherever it is. I mean, they're lined up in those yellow colors just to show the world and show the opponents that Nyeri is Deputy President William Ruto's to lose. We understand why he's behaving that way, because just the other day, our former Prime Minister Raila Odinga was in Nyeri County and he had a very warm reception. So he's trying to see how he can be able to erase this cementing of a relationship between Raila Odinga, President Uhuru Kenyatta in this bastion as we head into 2022 general election. So I agree with the caller that you can only but rent really a Kikuyu, but not to buy one. And I think that is essentially what is happening.
Thank you very much, viewers across the bridge. I want to thank you. And let's say Sharon has some comment. One comment before I hand it over to my beautiful Miriam to finish.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Matanga. And I agree with the caller on he's actually, hit the nail and brought, hit the nail. And it's true what everyone has agreed to. You can actually rent a Kikuyu, but you cannot buy them. And it's just a matter of time. I believe the person that is going to win the heart of Mount Kenya, because as we speak, Mount Kenya is actually divided. You have seen divergent opinions from Mount Kenya Forum and the Mount Kenya Foundation and the Mount Kenya Unity Forum, and I believe the person who will be able to marshal up and put up the rich voting basket is a person that is going to preach unity among the people of Mount Kenya to actually bring them together. So anyone who does not have any agenda to actually unite the people of Kenya is actually not a person to actually look up to. But anyone who has the unity to actually bring together the people of Kenya, you've seen people like Rigathi going to the backyard of people like Kanini Kega and insulting him. So that clearly tells you there's some loopholes, and anyone that is going to bring about the unity that we are all talking about, unity of purpose, is a person that is going to marshal up all the, not necessarily all the votes, but just as a good section of the votes of the Mount Kenya region. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Sharon.
I am told this woman was seen somewhere at the border. So let the police expand, ask us for details. Some of us will point where she is. She had 2.12 billion. That's a lot of money to build a lot of schools. No wonder the man was very annoyed. He said the criminal justice system is targeting his people. So there you are. Thank you very much, Miriam. Back to you, and we talk in a few minutes, I think.
All right, Doc. Thank you so much, and thank you, Samuel.
Thank you, Sharon.
Sharon as well.
Let me do the thanking on your behalf. Thank you, Tawish Olesana. Sharon, that is a very good design. Thank you very much. Keep it up, my dear sister. And Tawish and Miriam, that's fantastic. You have done a very good job this morning. So as we call it, this station is therefore for Africa by Africa with Africa Jar. Now we can go.